Hello everyone, Gaara here and welcome to a brand new deck tech video. This deck tech video is sponsored by G2A. Today I'm gonna talk about the Korean Mech Shaman deck. Many of you guys were asking me about the Shaman deck tech video and about viable Shaman decks, and this is like the strongest Shaman deck in my opinion, at least right now. And they announced like the new expansion, so there will be like new cards coming out, and I'm very excited because they announced some very strong new Shaman cards like the Totem Golem, and I think it will change the game and make Shaman much stronger. Alright, today I'm gonna talk about this Mech Shaman. As I mentioned, I think this is the strongest list right now in terms of what you can like play with Shaman, and I brought this deck also to Archon League, so because I'm very convinced that it's very good. The interesting thing about this deck, or about Shaman in general, it is very strong against the tier 1 meta decks, but it's actually very weak against all sorts of random decks. That means like it is very strong against Handlock, it is very good against Patron, Rogue. It's like good against Druid. It's good against decks that people bring to tournaments mainly, or like what high ranked legend players play. But it is bad against like decks. It is not that bad against Aggro Paladin. It's weak against Control Paladin. It's like weak against Echo Mage, stuff like that, like Zoo. It's very strong against Handlock, but it's kind of weak against Zoo. It's strong against Malelock. It's like against those early board control decks, very strong early board control decks. It is, I think it's very good against mid-range Hunter, but bad against Face Hunter, stuff like that. I think against other Cancer decks, you still have a decent chance, but it's not that high. It's like 45% to win, because you have to like just draw better than them basically. That's how mainly you can still beat Zoo in decks like that, but you have to just outdraw them, as stupid as it sounds. Whichever deck gets board control by turn 3 will most likely win the game, it doesn't matter. So this is just how the aggro decks work like that. And the more 1-drops you play, the easier it will be to get board control till turn 3. So Aggro Paladin plays up to 9 1-drops, so it's very likely that an Aggro Paladin will just beat you, because the chance is higher that an Aggro Paladin will get their 1-drops in early game, 1-drop, 2-drop, compared to Mech Shaman, because we play only Cockmaster as a 1-drop, so it's just statistically. You can still get the Cockmaster and the Mech Warper, and they don't get it, like they draw the True Silver, then you will win. But it's kind of funny, because that's how it works. Let's talk about the deck list. As you see, compared to the standard Mech Shaman people are playing or were playing, with Fell River, Fire Elemental, and Ragnaros and all that late game, Dr. Boom, you cut the curve at turn 5, which means this deck is much faster and much more explosive. Like, you can kill people very fast, and the biggest difference is that you have a very high chance to top deck lethal when you need it. So let's talk about the deck list first. It plays double Lightning Bolt. It doesn't have any Earth Shocks, which is, I will talk about this like in a sec. Lightning Bolt is very good synergy with Fire God Destroyer. Like when you play it on 4, you're overloaded on 5, so you have 4 mana available on 5, and so forth. It's like 1 overload, and usually you can play like a let's say a Spider Tank, whatever, and then you can like Lightning Bolt as well in the same turn, or you just play, let's say, Mechanical Yeti into Fire God Destroyer. You have like 5 mana, then you can Fire God Destroyer plus Lightning Bolt and stuff. Like those 1 mana spells are very flexible, and many times you just have like this 1 extra mana, you can squeeze out something. And yeah, as a Shaman you have like tools to 4 cards if you count like both copies of the card. You have double Rock Bite and double Lightning Bolt. So this is like another card you can top deck for lethal, for additional damage. So what you mulligan for mainly are like the early game mechs, Mech Warper, Anoitron, Cockmaster, and Power Mace. I think I would keep Power Mace in any matchup, just because the card is so powerful. It deals 6 damage and it buffs a mech. So the mech, whatever mech you buff, it should be very difficult to kill because of the additional stats, and you can clear the board, so it will help you to get additional face damage in. Rock Biter pretty standard, Cockmaster pretty standard, Double Crackle pretty standard. Card is stupid. For 2 mana you can, if you get a spell power totem, if you have good RNG you can deal 7 damage. Compare it to a Fireball, it's just retarded. Like if you like Lightning Bolt, Crackle, you can do so much damage for so little mana. Like Crackle and Lightning Bolt, if you have a spell power totem up and you get the 7 damage in, just think about it, it's 11 damage for 3 mana, it's just insane. And this is how the deck works, you try to get the max, you try to get board control. If you get it, it's like a walk in the park, it's like a very easy game, because if you get damage in from the minions, like a Zap-O-Matic, if you get 6 damage in from the Zap-O-Matic, you don't really expect it, you try, right? You play the Mech Whopper, if it gets dealt with, let's say your opponent plays a Wrath or a Dark Bomb, and then you play a Zap-O-Matic, it's very likely that he doesn't have like a second Dark Bomb, second Wrath, or you know, a way to deal with it. And if you get 6 damage in, the opponent will drop very low. Like I sometimes you kill like Handlocks in turn 4, just because of that type of play, because you have so much damage in this deck. Like alright, this is an example. You play the Mech Whopper, he deals with it, he Dark Bombs, then you play the Zap-O-Matic. He has to life tap because he has to get the Drakes out, the Giants out, whatever, to try to find Hellfire. And then you get, like, you have a Rock Bite in your hand, you equip it on your Zap-O-Matic, and you deal 12 damage, and he life taps, so he's already in lethal range with a like Lava Burst and Crackles and something else. It's just crazy. Alright, Power Mace, just 6 damage, above some mag, just a lot of damage. Like Feral Spirits, the reason why the deck plays once Feral Spirits, it just buys you time, basically. You don't need the deck is so fast that most of the time you just win by turn 5, so you don't need to kill taunts, that's why you don't play Earthshock. If your opponent has board and he wants to kill you like first to outrace you, Feral Spirits really helps you stall the game. The bad thing is about the Overload effect, but it gives you 2 taunts and just buys you time basically, so it's not a bad card, it's just the one open slot, it's more useful than an Earthshock. Double Lava Burst, just a lot of damage, what to say there. It's like one of those cards you want to top deck after turn 4 or turn 5. Usually when the game is not won by turn 5 or 6, the opponent will most likely have taunts, but he will be low on life, so you basically hope to draw all your burst damage cards, but you have plenty of them in the deck. You have the Crackles, the Lightning Bolts, the Lava Burst, and so forth. Spider Tank, one of those standard mechs. Fire God Destroyer, very strong card on 4, very difficult to deal with. Mech Yeti, Shredder, all those cards are very sticky on board and very difficult to kill. Doomhammer is like the main win condition, because if you play against the Rogue and you have a Doomhammer, it's like 16 damage. It's just if you get the time to hit him, you will outrace everyone just because of Doomhammer and all the damage you have in the deck. Leroy just fits the game plan perfectly, because you just try to kill your opponent as fast as possible, and Lortep is like, because you have sort of board control, it really seals out the game. Your opponent needs to like deal with the board with spells most of the time, because you play max, you get like a lot of stronger minions earlier out, and the way how usually people deal with those minions is with spells, and you just seal the game with Lortep. If you get like another hit of those, every point of damage matters so much, because you can deal so much damage with this deck. So this is the Korean Mech Shaman. I'm playing it myself. If I'm deciding to bring Shaman in a tournament, I'm playing this list, and yeah, I'm also gonna show you some games. Let's see. As I mentioned, it's very good against tier 1 decks, but it's not so good against some random decks people play, so let's see how good it will be on ladder.